What you're about to see sounds impossible, but this animal saved a pregnant stranger when no human could reach her in time. No camera crew. No warning. Just instinct and a decision that changed everything. Stay with me, because the final twist proves why you should never ignore an animal's cry for help. And before we begin, subscribe now, because these real-style rescue stories deserve to be told. A stranded pregnant traveler collapses in a snowstorm. No signal, no help, no time. A battered rescue dog appears out of nowhere and refuses to leave her side, leading her into the mountains as disaster closes in. With minutes to live and nowhere to run, she trusts the animal. And what happens next changes everything. The snow started falling long before anyone checked the forecast. Route 89 outside Flagstaff turned from wet asphalt to white glass in under an hour. Most drivers sped through, eager to outrun the storm. Marissa Cole wasn't one of them. 8 months pregnant and traveling alone, she kept both hands tight on the wheel, whispering calm breaths to the baby kicking beneath her coat. Her phone showed no signal. "Just a few more miles," she murmured. The engine coughed. Once. Twice. Then died. The SUV rolled to a slow, helpless stop on the shoulder. Wind slammed against the doors. The temperature reading dropped by the minute. She tried the ignition again. Nothing but a dry click. Panic crept in quietly. Marissa reached for her emergency kit. Empty. She had packed it, then left it in her garage after reorganizing. The realization hit like ice water. Through the blowing snow, a shape moved near the tree line. Low. Fast. Watching. Not a wolf. Smaller. A rangy, ash-colored stray dog with alert eyes and a torn red collar. It didn't approach. It just stared at her car, then turned and ran, stopping once to look back. Like it wanted her to follow. Marissa stayed in the driver's seat for a full minute, heart pounding, watching the dog fade into the white blur. "Great," she whispered. "Now I'm hallucinating animals." Then the shape reappeared, closer this time, pacing beside the guardrail. Not wandering. Waiting. The dog barked once. Sharp. Urgent. "I can't hike after a stray," she muttered, rubbing her stomach. Another cramp tightened low and deep. Too early. Too strong. She checked the time between pains and felt fear bloom in her throat. The dog barked again, then trotted ahead and stopped, turning back with a short whine. Wind cut through the cracked window like knives. Staying meant freezing. Walking meant risk. But the animal's behavior wasn't random. It was directional. Okay, she said, forcing the door open. Cold crushed her lungs. Snow reached her ankles. The dog moved forward immediately, not excited, focused, leading her off the roadside toward a narrow service trail half hidden by drifts. "Don't lose me," she called weakly. The dog slowed, matching her pace. 10 minutes in, another contraction hit. Harder. She nearly fell. The animal rushed back, pressing warm fur against her leg, steadying her. Through the storm ahead, a faint yellow light flickered. A building. Or bait. The yellow glow wavered through the pines like a candle about to die. Marissa blinked snow from her lashes, afraid it would disappear if she looked away too long. The dog pushed ahead, then circled back, repeating the pattern, guide, check, guide again, as if trained for this exact moment. "I see it," she breathed. "I'm still coming." The trail sloped downward into a maintenance clearing she never knew existed. Half buried behind snowdrifts stood a Forest Service equipment cabin, metal roof, single window, light burning inside. No vehicles. No tire tracks. Just that lonely bulb fighting the storm. Relief nearly buckled her knees. She reached the door and pounded. "Hello. Please, I need help." No answer. Unlocked. Inside smelled like diesel and pine cleaner. A space heater hummed beside a workbench. Emergency blankets hung on hooks. A landline phone sat mounted to the wall, dead tone when she lifted it. Another contraction tore through her, longer, sharper. She cried out. The dog barked, not at her, at the back storage door. Scratch, scratch, scratch. "What is it?" she gasped. The door rattled from the other side. Something, or someone, was out there in the storm. The back door handle jerked once, then again, metal clanging in the narrow room. Marissa grabbed a wrench off the bench without thinking, her breath shaking. The dog stood planted between her and the door, fur raised, growl low and steady. "Who's there?" she called. A weak voice answered through the wind. "Help! Please, don't lock it." Not a threat, a plea. She cracked the door. A man collapsed halfway inside with the snow. Mid-30s, beard iced over, park ranger jacket torn at the sleeve. His name tag read Evan Rourke. Blood soaked the fabric around his forearm, hastily wrapped with gauze. "Oh my God," Marissa said. "You're hurt." "Truck slid off the ridge," he panted. "Radio's dead. I saw your car, then the dog." "The dog?" she asked. He looked down. "Yeah, that's Ranger." The stray stepped forward calmly and sat beside him, not wild now, but working. Waiting. "I've been tracking him for weeks," Evan said between breaths. "Search and rescue dropout. Thought he'd vanished." Another contraction hit Marissa, violent enough to drop her to one knee. Evan's face changed instantly. "That's not mild labor," he said. "That's now." Outside, the storm intensified, and the cabin lights flickered. Then went out. Total darkness. Darkness swallowed the cabin so completely Marissa couldn't see her own hands. The heater died with a hollow click. Wind roared against the metal walls like an approaching train. "I've got a flashlight," Evan said, voice tight. A narrow beam cut through the black. "Battery won't last long." Marissa lay back against a folded tarp, breathing in broken bursts. "I'm too early. This can't be happening yet." "It is," Evan replied gently. "And we're going to handle it." He guided her onto a stack of canvas sacks, building a makeshift bed. Ranger, no longer a stray mystery but a trained rescue dog, moved with purpose, dragging a plastic supply bin across the floor with his teeth. Evan stared. "That's the trauma kit box. I couldn't find it earlier." Inside were gloves, thermal wraps, a flare gun, and emergency rations. "You're kidding me," Evan whispered. "He remembers training." Marissa cried out, the contraction stronger than all the others. Too close together now. Panic edged her voice. "I can't do this in a shack." "You're not," Evan said. "I'm getting help." He lifted the dead landline again. Nothing. Then Ranger barked sharply at the flare gun. Evan looked from the dog to the ceiling hatch. "One flare," he said. "One chance somebody sees it." Evan forced open the roof hatch, and the storm punched downward in a swirl of snow and needles of ice. Ranger braced at the ladder, steady as a post, while Evan climbed with the flare gun clenched between his teeth. "Don't pass out on me," Evan called down. "Not planning to," Marissa gasped, then screamed through another contraction. On the roof, wind nearly threw him sideways. Visibility, maybe 50 feet. No road. No headlights. No world beyond white chaos. "Come on," he muttered, aiming straight up. He fired. The flare tore into the sky, red fire hissing, a burning star against the storm, hanging longer than physics felt allowed. For 3 seconds, the forest glowed blood-bright. Then darkness again. Evan climbed down, soaked and shaking. If anyone's within 5 miles, they saw it. And if they're not? Marissa asked. He met her eyes. "No lies." "Then I am." Ranger moved closer to her, pressing warm weight against her side. Not panic. Comfort. regulated breathing, training behavior. You picked the right place to break down, Evan said softly. This dog saves people. Marissa swallowed through pain. Then tell him. I'm counting on it. Ranger lifted his head, ears locked toward the distant valley. Listening. Somewhere far away, faint, came the echo of a helicopter rotor. The rotor thump grew louder, then uneven, then wrong. Evan's expression shifted from relief to confusion. That's not med-evac rhythm, he said. Too sloppy. The sound dipped low over the ridge, engine coughing between beats. A private chopper burst through the snowfall, spotlight slicing the trees, then veered sharply and disappeared behind the opposite slope. No descent. No search circle. Gone. Marissa stared. They didn't see us. They saw something, Evan said quietly. Just not us. Ranger began pacing, agitated now, not fear, but alert behavior. He returned to the supply bin and pawed it hard, whining through his nose. What is it, partner? Evan asked. The dog grabbed a rolled topo map tube in his teeth and dropped it at Evan's boots. Evan blinked. I didn't put that there. He opened it. Inside, updated ridge survey sheets marked with fresh hazard symbols and a handwritten note. Unstable shelf. Controlled blast zone. Scheduled today. His stomach dropped. This sector, he said slowly, pointing, is avalanche mitigation territory. Another contraction ripped through Marissa, and at that exact moment, a deep, distant boom rolled under the mountain like thunder trapped underground. Dust shook from the rafters. Ranger barked once, sharp. Evan looked up. That wasn't thunder. The second boom came faster, closer, followed by a low grinding roar that didn't stop. The cabin trembled like it had bones, and they were rattling loose. Evan didn't hesitate. They triggered the ridge charges. Chain release. Marissa's eyes widened. You mean an avalanche? Yes, and we're in the slide path buffer. Snow dust began sifting through the ceiling seams. Ranger barked and sprinted to the front door, then back, then to Marissa, herding behavior, urgent and precise. He wants us out, Marissa said through clenched teeth. Not far, Evan replied. But not here. He threw thermal blankets around her shoulders and wrapped his injured arm tighter with gauze. Another rumble rolled, louder, like a freight train buried underground. Outside, the wind had changed direction, sucked inward, the way air does before a massive drop. Move with me, Evan said. Lean on my good side. They stepped into white chaos. Ranger led immediately, not toward the road, but sideways along the slope line. Why that way? Marissa cried. Because he's choosing rock cover, not open runout. Behind them, the mountainside broke loose with a thunderous crack. The avalanche was coming, and Ranger was running straight toward it. Ranger cut hard left through a stand of bent pines, forcing them off the open grade and toward a jagged wall of exposed rock. Snow already streamed past their boots in fast-moving sheets, the outer fingers of the slide. Faster, Evan urged, voice tight. We need overhead cover. I'm trying. Marissa cried, another contraction stealing her breath mid-step. The dog vanished around a boulder, then reappeared beside a narrow split in the rock face almost invisible under drift. He barked and squeezed inside. A crevice, Evan said. That won't. Then he saw the reinforcement bolts. Old rescue shelter. Decommissioned. Half natural, half man-made. He trained here, Evan realized. Years ago. Inside, the slot widened into a shallow stone pocket, just enough space for 3 bodies pressed close. Evan pulled Marissa in as the first real wave of avalanche thunder exploded past outside, a crushing roar that erased the world. Snow smoke blasted across the entrance, but the rock lip held. Total white noise. Marissa sobbed in relief, then gasped in pain. Evan, it's time. I can't stop it anymore. He checked quickly, face going pale. Okay. We're doing this now. No hospital, she whispered. Ranger lay against her legs, steady, warm, present. No, Evan said softly. But you're not alone. The storm noise faded to a distant hiss beyond the rock shelter. Time narrowed to breath, pain, and instruction. Evan worked from memory and instinct, voice calm, hands steady despite the cold. You're doing it right, Marissa. Stay with me. One more push. Ranger never moved, body pressed to her boots, eyes fixed on Evan's face like he was reading commands without words. Minutes later, a newborn cry filled the stone pocket, sharp, alive, defiant. Marissa laughed and sobbed at once. Is he? He's breathing strong, Evan said, wrapping the baby in thermal foil. You both are. Relief washed through the cramped space, until Ranger suddenly stood and barked twice toward the entrance. A distant rotor beat returned, steady this time, controlled. Real rescue, Evan said. Search and rescue crews dug them out within minutes of the slide settling. As medics loaded Marissa and the baby, a team leader stopped short when he saw the dog. No way, she whispered. She knelt, turning Ranger's torn red collar tag toward the light. Stamped beneath the ice-cracked enamel were the words, K-9 Unit, Avalanche Lead, Deceased, Honors, 2022. Evan stared. That's impossible. The handler looked up slowly. He died saving a mother last winter. Ranger wagged once. If this story moved you, don't just scroll away. Take 1 second and be part of what keeps these rescue stories alive. Because moments like this, loyalty beyond logic, courage without language, instinct that saves human lives, they don't get remembered unless people choose to share them. Comment Ranger below if you believe animals understand more than we give them credit for. I read the comments, and your voice shapes which real-style rescue story we tell next. Subscribe now and join this channel's rescue community, where every story is built to remind you that compassion still wins, instinct still matters, and heroes don't always walk on 2 legs. And if this story held your attention to the very end, there's another rescue deep dive waiting on your screen right now, even more intense, even more emotional, and with a twist you won't see coming. Tap it. Stay with the story. You won't regret it. Like, comment, subscribe, share one act of courage today, even if it's just spreading this story forward.